Our sponsor today is GLSA Group Legal Services Association, and it's an affiliate of the American Bar Association, a professional membership organization representing the legal services plan industry and provider attorneys. And joining GLSA is just a good way for solos and small firms to increase their business. And please check it out at glsaonline.org. My name is Tom Martin, and I'll be moderating this morning's panel discussion with the Scottsdale Conference preview, which we're really excited about because this year we're going to have the joint GLSA and GP Solo conference in Scottsdale, Arizona, and it's going to be really awesome. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today and get some more information about that. For those that don't know, GP Solo is the voice of solo small firms and general practice lawyers, and GLSA, as I mentioned, is the Group Legal Services Association. The conference is being held this year from May 17th through May 20th in Scottsdale, Arizona. The venue is going to be the Fairmont Princess Hotel in Scottsdale. And right now, you want to be sure to sign up as soon as you can because the early bird pricing is only available through April 26th. For members, that's $300. And if you miss it, after the 26th, it's going to go up to $400. So save yourself $100 and register now. So to introduce our speakers today, we have Melanie Bragg of GP Solo, and she's also the presenter of one of the conference topics, which is cross-marketing your publications and your practice and wellness. So she's going to be presenting on those two subjects. And we also have Carrie Norris, who is the board president, and we're very happy to have her here today. And she'll be the moderator of a few different CLE programs that are going to be happening at the conference. We also have Stephen Ginsburg, who is a board member of GLSA, and he's also the moderator of the State of the Industry panel, which is going to be very exciting to hear where things are going and what the future holds for legal services. Matt Hahn is also a GLSA board member, and he's going to be speaking for the bankruptcy session. And Chris Moran is chair of the volunteer program at ASU Law, and he'll be able to help us out with some local wisdom about what to do in Scottsdale, Arizona, because there's a lot of great things to do there. Finally, we have Sally Robertson of LegalZoom. She is also a State of the Industry panelist, and she's also from Scottsdale. So she's going to give us some local insight as well. So that said, we have some really great speakers to give us some insight about the upcoming conference. And first, I'd like to start with just a little bit of a reflection on our last conference. So I'd like to hear from Matt and from Stephen about, what did you love about the conference that we had in Key West, and what are some of the great things that you expect to see again at the conference in Scottsdale to really repeat that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Matt?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be here and talk about the upcoming Scottsdale conference, which I'm looking forward to. I know a lot of us are, I'm in Virginia here, and the weather, we don't have snow, fortunately, but it is freezing outside. And so Scottsdale circled with a bright red highlighter on my calendar. I cannot wait to get there, and I'm an avid golfer, so looking forward to it. But to refresh a little bit about Key West, the social events at Key West, I go to conferences a lot for networking and knowledge. And the State of the Industry session in Key West was fantastic. I mean, that right there is worth the money alone for the trip. You get to hear from all the major players in the game and really get to know a little bit about what's going on in the industry. What can we expect? Are we moving forward? Are we moving backwards? What's going on with legal insurance in America? And so it really is so valuable to listen to that, and also the networking is invaluable. Throughout Key West, so many social events, and it really gives you the opportunity, twofold really for me. One, to get to know the legal insurance providers better, and let them know that they're referring clients to a good firm a firm that really believes in treating clients with dignity and respect. And it gives me the chance to ask them how we're doing. How's Bowman looking in the legal insurance industry's eyes? Are we upholding the expectations that you would like us to? And also, I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of practicing attorneys, and you really learn so much about how they use their plans and what they do with the legal insurance plans to get the most business they can from these clients. And every time I leave a conference, particularly in Key West, I left with so many good ideas and how to better our procedures here at the firm to get the most benefit from the legal insurance plans. So yeah, I'll pass it to Steve on that note.
All right.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick up where Matt just left off with the networking, because all these conferences, the GLSA conferences, GP Solo are great networking opportunities. I met Matt for the first time last year in Key West, and I probably met about 24 other people for the first time. And when you consider that I've been attending these conferences for the past 25 years or so, and so I already know a lot of the regulars, I think it's saying a lot about how easy it is to meet people, to meet new people, how easy it was last year, how easy it'll be this year. So I'm expecting to have that same experience again in Scottsdale, and especially on the Thursday night welcome reception. That's where I think I met the most people last year. This year it's billed as, on the brochure, as an evening of food, cocktails, friendship, and Western-themed fun. So yes, there's going to be line dancing, and that's an easy way to meet people. And I think everyone should look forward to the Thursday night event. The other thing I really liked about Key West, I'll just give you one other thing, was the Wednesday evening early arrival session. And they're free to conference registrants, and they're also open to members of the public who register in advance. So I don't know if we have anyone from the Scottsdale area today that's not going to go to the conference but might want to go to this early session. And last year I arrived just in time to see the Stand Your Ground Laws panel. It was moderated by Leanne Buchanan, and it was excellent. And I hope to experience something like that again this year. The Wednesday evening event is starting a little later. It's actually starting in the evening. I think that first panel started at 5 last year, but this time it's at 7. And it has Peter Blonner, the crime novelist and the executive producer for Law and Order, speaking about developing storylines. And apparently there's going to be a lot of audience participation. Going to moderate a storytelling exercise, so that should be a lot of fun. That's the early event.
Well, that does sound like a lot of fun. The networking opportunities are invaluable, and Arizona is the Grand Canyon state, is going to be very sunny and a nice change, especially when you compare it to the snowstorm today. It's going to be a great venue for all of us. So the next topic is really about people out there that might be listening in, and they're just undecided. They're sitting on the fence about whether or not to come to the conference, and what do we have to say to them? Like, what are some of the things that they should think about in deciding whether or not to come to the conference for the first time? What is a satisfying, honest answer that we could provide to them about what it could do for them? And I guess one last thing is that there are a lot of conferences, obviously, that lawyers can attend. Now, this one is, in my mind, one of the standout conferences that's available to anyone to attend, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. So what advice do we have for people that are sitting on the fence right now about making that decision? And Matt and Stephen, again, if you'd like to give your thoughts on that, and I'd love to hear from Carrie too, if you'd like.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I cannot stress enough the importance of this conference, and I can personally tell you firsthand that we have seen a growth in business from legal insurance plans annually, and I think a lot of that is owed to my presence at the conference, my membership with GLSA, and the fact that I'm active on the board And I think that the more active you get, the more the legal insurance providers know you, the more they trust you, and the more clients you're going to get referrals to. If you're a practicing attorney and you've got all the business in the world and you don't want any more clients, then this probably isn't the organization for you. But I'm not sure of any attorneys that are like that. If you are looking for additional business to come in, business you would not otherwise get, then this conference makes all the sense in the world. There's all these conferences that you go to for knowledge. You know, we're a bankruptcy firm here, so we go to annual conferences to learn about bankruptcy and to study bankruptcy. But it's very rare where you can find a conference where the individuals at the conference are a direct referral source to your business. I'm going to spend 3 or 4 days with people that are a phone call away from sending me business, a substantial amount of business. And so for me, it's a no-brainer. And if you're on the fence, I would strongly encourage you to come. You will not be disappointed. And it's not only Scottsdale, and the social scene's going to be fun. The weather's going to be great. But getting to know other attorneys out there, learning how they manage these plans, and also the getting to know the legal insurance providers, it's just invaluable. And I would encourage anyone on the fence to come, and they will not be disappointed.
Okay, well, so Matt has given a great reason, the business-related reason, and the telephone call away, and I'll take it from sort of the 10,000-foot level and just give you sort of a some macro reasons. And there's all kinds of different legal plans. As Matt said, it's a growing industry. Joining GLSA to begin with is an opportunity to network with everyone in the industry. And aside from helping you grow the business, to join GLSA and attend this conference will help you think about legal services in a different way. Your own legal services that you're providing in your own practice or in your union plan or however you're doing it, both marketing of legal services and also the provision of legal services. So you get a chance to see things and think about things from maybe a new perspective that you never thought about before. And why this conference? Because it is the only place to meet people from every facet of the legal plan industry. Plan administrators, provider attorneys, union trustees, legal tech, platform plans, startup entrepreneurs. So you get a variety of people. And if you're on the fence and you're worried, well, you don't know anybody, you're a first-timer, this conference is a very friendly conference. GLSA members are extremely friendly, approachable, down to earth. You don't need to worry about fitting in with this crowd.
Hey, Tom, this is Carrie Norris at GLSA, and
Thanks, Carrie.
I wanted to kind of a little bit of repetition of what both Matt and Steve said, but this particular conference, for those that might be sitting on the fence, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer that they should come. I mean, the easy answer is there's quality CLE that will be taking place throughout the conference. And so you're able to come, you're able to sit in and listen to and hear from leaders in this space. And quite honestly, there's something for everyone, whether you're doing bankruptcy like Matt, whether you're doing family law, whether you do elder law. We have speakers coming to talk about identity theft and breach matters. And then as Steve just said, a lot of the education that's going on really relates to how practitioners can work with and for legal plans. And so the substantive content that is available is outstanding. And then to kind of add to that, since the speakers are people that are engaged in this industry as solo practitioners or small firm practitioners or on the industry plan side of the business, they're people that really know how it works, and they are there as a presenter to share that information, but they're also there to really network, make those relationships, and share those connections. As Matt said, he's seen an increase in his business as a result of his engagement at these conferences as well as with the GLSA. And I think all of the practitioners that come share that experience. It's a really unique conference in the sense that you have solo practitioners as well as you have plan providers as well as you have others that are engaged in their industries that quite honestly are there primarily for networking and making the connections. And in this business, that's critical. There's an opportunity to speak one-on-one with each of the plans that are there, whether it's at a booth or whether it's over a luncheon or whether it's over a cocktail or, as Steve mentioned, whether it's while line dancing at the events in the evening. So it's a unique event that you get your substantive CLE, but more importantly, you really put a name with a face, with the business, and are able to network and connect such that your business can increase and be promoted. So it's a phenomenal event for that. There's a lot of activity. I think, I know Steve and Matt have already talked about the location, which is second to none, and the activities that are put together during the day that are substantive, as well as the evenings and the mornings. There's yoga activities, there's fun activities, so that there's really something for everyone that breaks it down into smaller groups. So you have a unique chance to sit down one-on-one and talk to people about their business and how you can do business together.
Yeah, that's great. And I completely agree. I mean, one of the things that's so attractive about this conference is the diversity of people. I mean, you have people that are coming to the conference that are lawyers, then you have people that are part of legal insurance, and you have legal tech. And I mean, everyone has a different perspective, and that's really invaluable to meet everyone, put a face to a name, be able to continue those relationships and conversation. The CLEs, it's up to, I think, 15 hours possibly that you can get if you attended everything. So that's great. And so I also read that the welcome reception is going to be in this replica southern ghost town, Copper Canyon. And there's going to be, dinner, line dancing, mechanical bull riding, and other things. So that's going to be a ton of fun. So I'd really like to hear now what the speakers are excited to hear. Like what speakers are you looking forward to hearing from at the conference? And I'd love to hear from Melanie, Sally, and Stephen about that. So the question is just, what speakers are you looking forward to hearing? Actually sharing your own, if you're going to be presenting, tell us a little bit about that. So let's start with you, Melanie.
Okay, so I'm very, very excited to talk about the writing, the possibilities for marketing or practice with writing. Am I echoing? Was I echoing?
You sound all right.
Okay, so but I have discovered, when you follow your passions and you're doing what you love, you're more able to market yourself just naturally. So there's some really cool things going on with writing and that I want to share with everybody. If they're interested, doing blogs, doing columns, doing books. And I've actually somehow managed to turn my little book into a real moneymaker. It wasn't intentional, but it just kind of happened. So I'm going to share those things with the lawyers who show up for lunch. It sounds like it's going to be a fun hour.
That sounds great. And are there any speakers that you're looking forward to hearing from, Melanie?
Last year in Key West, it was so amazing. We had so many great programs. I think it's just going to be an encore performance. It's going to be wonderful.
Fantastic. And Sally, how about you? What are your thoughts on this?
I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to hearing is actually the questions from the attendees. For those who actually work with legal plans, what do they like? What don't they like? What are some of the other problems that they have? Because we seem to all have similar sorts of issues. But then also hearing how much they actually are aware of the various different types of legal plans. As you previously mentioned, there's several. And just getting an overall sense of where everybody, they think it's going, the actual people who are working for it, rather than us telling them where it's going. I'd be curious to get their perspective as well. And then in terms of speakers, I'll give the rather trite answer of all of them, but it'll be very interesting, I think, overall.
Okay, great. And aren't you're participating on a panel too, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And which one is that?
The State of the Union.
Okay, great.
State of the industry. State of the industry.
The State of the Industry.
And
Well,
Stephen, you're moderating, right? So tell us
Yes,
a little bit about
I'm
that.
moderating of it. Okay, well, this is the opening plenary session on Thursday morning, State of the Industry, and I have the honor of moderating it. And it's a powerhouse panel. We had this same kind of panel. A lot of them, the same people are returning, but there's others that are new. Sally's one of them. And we had it for, I think, an hour and a half last year, and everybody complained that it wasn't long enough. So now we're having a 2-hour plenary session because everybody wants to be able to ask questions aside from, hearing the panelists as well. So on the panel are Jeff Bell, who's the CEO of Legal Shield, and Brian Caron, General Counsel at Hyatt Legal Plans, and a current GLSA board member. The incoming GLSA president, Gene Clausen, who is a recruiting manager, provider relations at ARAG, and Dan Lear, who is Director of Industry Relations at Avon, a very creative speaker and interesting speaker, has unusual insights. Sally Robertson, who you just heard from, who's Vice President for Attorney Services at LegalZoom. Alan Rodriguez, co-founder of 1-400, which is a law innovation agency. And Alan has created national attorney networks for several companies, including LegalZoom. Raphael Vernasal, head of attorney services at Rocket Lawyer. And John Waxman, who is a veteran panel attorney for several legal plans. He's from Denver. He's a former GLSA president. But when I looked at it, when you said, what speakers am I excited to hear, and I started going down the first day of the conference, beyond the State of the Industry, and I couldn't even get off the first page because, what jumps at me right away, and unfortunately they're both at the same time, is traffic ticket law coast to coast. If you've never met the Monks brothers, you're in for a real treat. They are funny, they're extremely entertaining, and they're very knowledgeable about their niche market, which is representing truckers nationwide. And Steve Monks is a current GLSA board member. Pat was a former GLSA president. And also on the panel is Matthew Davidson, who they recruited to be on with them, and Carrie, who you heard from, the current GLSA president, Carrie Norris. She'll be moderating that, and that will be a lot of fun. But at the same time, so maybe you need to bring 2 people from your law firm, because at the same time, Catherine Hesse is giving a talk on ERISA, and you might think, ERISA, it's just for labor lawyers and trustees, but it really isn't. It's although that ERISA is for that. The information that Kathy gives is unbelievable. She goes over cases and what's going on in the whole area, and she's committing for 2 sessions on Thursday, updating the law. But the sessions aren't just for the legal plan trustees or attorneys who act for counsel to boards of trustees or boards of directors. These sessions will interest anyone who's in a position of trust, because there are fiduciary issues that arise in many settings. So this will appeal to anyone attending the conference, and she is a fabulous and knowledgeable speaker. I could go on if you want me to, but I'll leave it at that for now. If you want, there's a couple others that are pretty interesting. I think everything's interesting, but a couple others jumped out on me.
Sure.
Yeah, you want me to keep going? Okay, so Kelly Minkin is a lawyer in Arizona, and one of the top poker players in Arizona, and she is going to give a talk on Saturday about poker strategies for professionals, how you can apply poker strategies to your law practice. And I like to play Texas Hold'em, so I'm very interested in seeing her. Alan Clevin is back. He's from Newton, Massachusetts. He's a very entertaining speaker. I saw him for the first time last year. He's doing something on Adobe Acrobat. and I'm sure that you'll get a lot of practice management tips out of that. There's another interesting. There's a chronic illness. So if you're into elder law, on Thursday there's a chronic illness panel. Chronic illness, legal and financial potpourri, and very timely considering the possible or imminent, I don't know, changes to Obamacare that may become law by the time we get to Scottsdale. I know two of the three panelists very well because they've served on the GLSA board, Rinki Parwani and Phil Bernstein. And Rinki is a dynamo. I don't know anyone who can multitask like Rinki. She's a very sharp business person. She runs her own practice in Tampa, and I'm sure that she'll be sprinkling a lot of practical tips in what's primarily a substantive session, I think. And it's not a surprise to me when I found out that she was selected one of the 2013 Florida Super Lawyer Rising Stars, and no surprise at all. She's excellent, and everybody enjoys her sessions. Phil Bernstein's also on that panel, and he's also a nonstop type of person. And if you want to know more about Phil, visit his. He has a very successful blog called the New York Probate Litigation Blog. So I'm glad that he's going to be speaking because he's also a very practical-oriented person. And the last panelist on that panel is Mike Gianelli from Gianelli and Associates, 9-lawyer firm in Modesto, California. And Mike is a California certified specialist in estate planning, trust, and probate law. So there's plenty of expertise on that panel, and elder law is certainly a hot topic.
All right, and there's a few that jumped out to me too. There's one about death, taxes, and zombies. I'm interested to hear more about that one. There's also building a lead generating system for your law firm, which I think would be interesting to anyone who would attend to see how to grow your law firm by creating a lead generating system. And one that I'll just plug lastly is the future of legal services, where I'll be presenting myself. So I just wanted to plug that. But yeah, there's a great variety of different CLEs that are being presented, speakers that are very knowledgeable about their area of expertise, and a lot of fun too. So the next topic that I wanted to talk about was for some people too that might be on the fence, how to attend this conference on a budget. And Sally, if you would throw in your thoughts on this, I'll throw in some of mine. But basically the idea is there are a number of conferences to attend, and to be able to do it all, what are some ways of potentially saving some money on this conference that people, who might be on the fence or anyone else might employ? Sally, do you have any thoughts on that?
Sure. Well, the nice thing about the way that this conference is set up is you don't actually have to attend all of the dinners and everything else. I would say those are probably more useful in many regards from a networking perspective, so they're not to be discounted. But you can pick and choose, which is really great. And I think with all conferences, you need to go in with both an open mind as to what you want to see and hear. But you can also be a little strategic about it and attend, some of the sessions over the others, and really view it as, yes, it's expensive. Yes, it does add up. But at the same time, think about the amount of money that your firm would spend marketing, and really be aware of that as well.
Right. And I totally agree. Like, one of the things to think about is the ROI, the return on this. And some of it may be in terms of direct business, but the relationships are invaluable. And many times from my experience, even though, the relationships are there by making friends and keeping that conversation going. And sometimes, it surprises you that actually things do come of that. It might be a year later, 2 years later, but there's definitely a lot to be gained just by attending and meeting people. Some ideas that I had were, I've been looking myself, and I've been trying to figure out how to make it to make it work. I'm a little budget conscious and just want to see what the possibilities are of saving. And so there's Airbnb is one way of potentially saving. There's with Airbnb, different places that you can stay, and they're sometimes more cost effective than hotels. There's Uber and Lyft, as opposed to renting a car, possibly, or there's services like Travelocity and Hotwire and all of that, Trivago, that are great at providing a lot of insight into the pricing available in the area, either for car rentals or for hotels. And so I've been really looking through that to find ways to save. One other thing that I've used that I don't know how many people are aware of this, but when you search for flights through Google Flights online, if you actually click on the days, it will reveal the actual price differential from day to day. So you could kind of play with that and figure out, if you left one day ahead of time, you might save a couple $100. Or if you left one day later, and you could kind of play with your dates and times, and it has a lot of great information on that. So those are just some thoughts that I have. And just again to reiterate, if you are going to attend, you should register as soon as you can, because you could save $100 on registration. Just make sure to do that before April 26th. So next, I'd like to get a little insight into Scottsdale. I haven't been there before. I know that a couple of our speakers on the call today are familiar with it, and I would love to hear, as I'm sure a lot of people that are listening in would like to know, what to do in Scottsdale. What are some great things? What are some interesting and fun things? And Chris, I'd love to hear from you about that.
All right, sounds great. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay, perfect. So there's a bunch of stuff to do, both in Scottsdale and the surrounding area. Scottsdale is really connected to Phoenix, and everything is pretty easy enough to get to between public transit or Lyft or Uber. It's fairly cheap to get to, but where we're located at the hotel, I kind of, in preparation for this, I looked at where the hotel was and where the event is, and then I'm going kind of like in concentric circles further and further away from the hotel. So close to the hotel, we have Frank Lloyd Light Boulevard, which has a bunch of great eateries. Scottsdale has a bunch of great restaurants to go to for outside networking opportunities, or just to kind of experience the farm to fresh, which is the big hot topic thing around here. Food-wise, if you're a foodie, there's such great places to go to. Along with that, there's the Frank Lloyd Wright Museum that's located over by the hotel, where you could go if you're an architecture fan, or you're from Chicago, you might want to go see and check out that museum. Along with that, there's great shopping. One of the things that Scottsdale is really great about is it has a ton of shopping, whether it's high-end, middle, or low, for people who are those types of kind of outdoorsy people to go shopping. We also, close to that is McDowell Park, which when we all come to Scottsdale in May, it's going to be a little warm, but in the morning time, if you're not a yoga person or just kind of a wandering around person, you could take a Lyft or an Uber over to McDowell Park, and there's some fabulous hiking that overlooks the valley. There's the Musical Instrument Museum, which is just kind of about a mile from the hotel, which talks about the history of musical instruments and Bach and Beethoven, all the way up through modern day electric guitars and auto-tune systems, where it's an interactive museum where you can learn about the different instruments and get a feel for them and play with them. It's a really interesting time. I just went last weekend with my in-laws and wife, and we had an amazing experience. From there, you can hop over to downtown Phoenix. It's about a 5 to 10 minute Lyft ride. Will run you about $7 to $8 to get down there. But in downtown Phoenix, we have the Heard Museum for Indigenous people. There's the Phoenix Zoo. There's the Diamondback Stadium where you can play there. There's always something going on at the Talking Stick Arena for that weekend. There's a couple concerts in town if that's something they want to go to. And then there's just kind of exploring around the area. There's in Old Town Scottsdale, there is the Museum of Contemporary Arts and the Western Spirit Museum, which goes along with what we're doing with the theme of the conference. And all of it is, again, it's all a 5 to 10 minute lift. It's $8 to $10 to get out and around. In Old Town Scottsdale, there's a bunch of the fashion district and a ton of good shopping and good food there. There's the Arizona food tours that goes around. If you don't see the pattern here of what I like to do, obviously I'm not being clear about that. There's a bunch of good shopping at the promenade and just a good place to hang out. And like everywhere else, there's Starbucks on every corner and all sorts of fun stuff to do. Lastly, I heard golf brought up a couple times. We do have a great Topgolf in Scottsdale. If you hadn't had an experience at a Topgolf, you really should try it. It's super fun for anybody who likes to play for any sort of ability or experience level. And then lastly, we have 3 great Indian casinos if that's your bag.
Wow, that sounds like a load of really great things to do there. And
Hey, Tom,
who's that?
Tom, this is Melanie.
Oh, hey, Melanie.
Hey, can I put in a quick plug for the resort we're going to be at?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Let me tell you something. This place, I've stayed there several times. I mean, where it was so hot you could fry an egg on the sidewalk. I mean, it was like, really, really hot. But the resort itself, even if you did not go anywhere, even if you just stayed there, it is so amazing. The spa is fabulous. The hopefully we're going to get some spa discounts. I'm not sure about that, but they'll probably have them on hand. The swimming pool is amazing. The food at this resort is great. Like the pool food is great. Everything's really, really healthy. There's a huge hot tub that would fit probably 40 or 50 people. In the evenings you can relax in the hot tub and then go in the pool, and it's just an amazing place. It's an amazing resort to enjoy and relax and sort of unwind. So if you want to run around and do all these touristy type things, that's great. But if you also just want to refresh and recoup and enjoy the environment, it's a wonderful resort. So I think everybody's going to just have a fabulous time because it sounds like everyone's, whatever you want, it's going to be there.
Wow, Melanie, you make me just want to get up and go there right now.
It really is. I'm so excited. I mean, I'm always there when it's super, super hot. So it's going to be probably warm, but it's not going to be as hot. But I'm telling you, the rooms are very luxurious. I mean, it's in the service is just great. I mean, so there's just lots of little cubby holes, lots of good, and the food is really good. I don't know what our menus are going to be, but every time I've been there, it's been really, really healthy. And it's just like, don't, if you're a spa person or if, getting a massage is a great way to unwind or just, do something that's a little bit different. If you don't usually get a massage, go ahead and get one this time and just see what it's like, switch it up a little bit.
All right. So the next thing is just about what kind of volunteer opportunities there are available. And Chris, I know that you would have some insight into this. What opportunities do people have that are attending where they can make a positive difference in the lives of others by volunteering their time? Are there any opportunities like that are available?
Yeah, Ramon and I put together a pretty sweet deal with the legal triage clinic here in the law school. What we do here is we have like a 3-lawyer triage clinic where we have people come in, they drop questions, they call in or they show up, and they don't know what their problem is. They don't know if they have a legal situation. They don't know what's going on. So our lawyers address the problems, figure out whether or not they have a case, and then we kick it off to our ASU alumni law group, which is graduates of the ASU law program, and then they handle the cases. But it's a great time right now, especially we're getting a lot of questions on immigration. We're getting a lot of questions on fair housing. We're getting a lot of questions on public school discrimination. We're getting a lot of questions on, all sorts of other things, traffic tickets, neighbor disputes, you name it. But it's a great opportunity for us to be able to flex our knowledge to help those in the community. And most of the people who come into the triage clinic are your lower socioeconomic classes that normally wouldn't have the ability to afford attorneys to begin with. And so it's a great opportunity to network with the people here in the Arizona Law Center and our triage clinic, along with seeing the law school being a part of that, and then dealing with the members of the community.
All right. And Stephen, do you have some insight into that as well as to any other opportunities that are available for volunteer work?
Not in Arizona per se, but if you're talking about wanting to do good for people using your legal knowledge, in my opinion, this is what you learn at this conference will enable you to do a lot of things, because to me, access to justice is access to legal service providers at a reasonable cost. And in the private sector, legal plans are the best vehicle for access to justice, to get an attorney at a reasonable cost. So if you want to impact access to justice, do it on a voluntary basis or a discounted fee basis. This conference is the best opportunity to figure out how to do that, to create your best approach to how you might want to use, let's call it the legal plan platform, to impact access to justice wherever you are and however you want to do it, because there's the opportunity to learn from everybody who's there. And I think, so that's another 10,000-foot look at your question, I guess.
All right. And we talked a bit about network opportunities before, that there's opportunities to meet people. But let's get into a little more specifics about the social events that are available. And I'd love to hear from Melanie and Matt about this. But if you could talk a little bit to the social events that are going to be available to people that attend.
Melanie, you can start.
Melanie, are you there?
Hey, y'all, I gotta confess, I just got back from a week in Cancun, and this is my first morning back in the office, and I don't really have all of the social events memorized here. I'm looking.
Oh, no.
We have Wednesday night, we've got our council dinner, but I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I want to go hear that writer guy for the dine around. And then Thursday, we've got our opening session, our reception that'll be on the property and hospitality suite. I think that's going to be amazing. What we did last year in Key West with the Hemingway Museum, it looks like this Saturday afternoon event, the Musical Instrument Museum, that just sounds like a real blast too. So, I mean, I definitely am going to try that one. But no matter what we do, just whether we're in, exact events or if we're just, hanging out, it's just going to be a great time to bond and meet people. And, some of the best deals, they say, are done on the golf course. So while everybody else is out playing golf, while the guys are out playing golf, hopefully there'll be a few of us attending the mindfulness afternoon session and hanging out and having a good time thinking about ways to relax.
That sounds good to me. And Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of going back to Key West, there's all types of social events planned, and when you have Ramon involved in a conference, this is his specialty, let me tell you. Getting people together, breaking the ice. There's something every night throughout the day. If you've gotten the program guide, you can see everything that's offered. But for me, it was a lot of one-on-one time where I'm walking through the resort, walking through the hotel, poolside in Key West. I sit down in a chair and I strike up a conversation with the person next to me, get to know them, find out why they're there, and that's where I found the most benefit from when I had some one-on-one time with people that were at the conference. And so I encourage everyone to the networking opportunities there's going to be so many things planned, and it'll have all that opportunity. But also when you're solo around the town or when you're at the resort, just get to know people, be friendly. I'm an avid golfer, so I'm looking forward so much to the golf tournament there. I signed up for that, and I know that that's a good way to get to know at least 3 people that are going to be stuck with me for 4 hours as we get around the golf course. So I'm looking forward to that, but it's going to be similar to Key West, where there's going to be so many opportunities to network from the minute you get up to the minute you go to bed, and there's not going to be a chance. If you're not meeting people, it's your own fault, because there's always people there, and everyone there is there to network and to meet new people. So you'll see so many opportunities in Scottsdale.
And Tom, this is
Yeah.
Carrie. If I can add one last thing, I think Steve said it best, which is there's line dancing. So I'm an Oklahoma girl, right? So I might know a thing or two about line dancing where I'm from. So the idea that we have an event that's purely fun and social, that's designed for people to relax and kick back and just have fun is. I mean, I'm kind of kidding about the line dancing, but that's just one example. And so, at a minimum, that event, that welcome reception on Thursday night, is going to be, in Melanie's word, an absolute blast. So that's just the beginning of it.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And for people that may not be as familiar with the actual events that are happening for networking, you know, there's plenty here. There's a Wednesday night Law and Order program. On Thursday, you have the opening ceremony, then a first-timers meet and greet, the welcome reception that Carrie just referred to, hospitality suites on Thursday and Friday nights. There's going to be an awards and election luncheon. There's optional excursions to McDonald's Ranch, to Escape the Room Arizona, and Topgolf. And there's going to be a Saturday after party and the Musical Instruments Museum tour. So there's plenty of fun stuff for everyone to take part in and to meet new people and create some friendships. So I just want to thank everybody for participating in the call today. I just want to reiterate that you need to remember the dates. May 17th through the 20th is when we're going to have the conference in Scottsdale at the Fairmont Princess Scottsdale Hotel. And it's going to be hosted again by GLSA and ABA's GP Solo. You want to make sure to register before April 26th to save that $100. For members, it's going to be $300. For non-members, $400. And after the 26th of April, it kicks up to $400 for members and $500 for non-members. So please register as soon as you can to lock in that savings. And so I want to thank everyone again for a tremendous amount of really great and useful information that our attendees can use for the conference. And specifically, thank you, Melanie, Carrie, Stephen, Matt, Chris, and Sally for participating in this call today.
Oh, it's my honor.
Thank you, Tom.
Well, thank you very much. And again, thanks to GLSA for hosting. Remember, joining GLSA is just a good way for solos to increase their business. And check us out at glsaonline.org. And that's where you need to register. Please go to glsaonline.org. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you at the conference.